connect to the internet, download the app, register, and watch live or catch up on unlimited hours of exciting shows. AIT Cloud TV, TV on the go.
All right, welcome back to the program. Like I said before the break, my guest today is Dr. Stephen Akintayo. He is the convener Global Wealth Festival.com. He's a business and an investment and life coach. He joins me now from Kenya. We'll be talking about building wealth in uncertain times. Welcome to you, Dr. Stephen Akintayo, and thanks for joining me on the show today.
Thank you for having me. It's good to be here.
Okay, let me start by asking you. I know you are the convener of Global Wealth Festival.com. You are an investment coach, a life coach. I'll be coming to that in a bit. But I want to start my questioning by asking, what was the original impetus for the Global Wealth Festival? And why do you think this is significant for Nigerians at this time?
Very good question. So we realized that a lot of us as Africans struggle with the concept of wealth creation. Originally, wealth started with Africa, and that's why we're not surprised that most of the minerals in the world are in Africa. But of course, the white man came, gave us religion, took our wealth, and told us to prepare for heaven and forget about building wealth. So we need to get back to the concept of realizing that there's nothing bad about building wealth, nothing bad about money. There's so much you can do when you are broke. Two poor people cannot help themselves. And that money takes the color of the owner. If you're good, money in the hands of a good man is good money, and he will do good things with it. Money in the hands of a bad man is bad money, and they will do bad things with it. So we want to change the mindset, because when you see our people, even in diaspora, and that's why this is a global event. We started with the Dallas version in the US, the London version, and we're doing Lagos in February, we're doing Dubai. We realize that even our people in diaspora are still struggling, $15 an hour, $10 an hour, instead of taking ownership, instead of owning companies, owning businesses, investing, even in diaspora. So we're changing that mindset, because ultimately it takes wealthy citizens to have a wealthy nation.
Dr. Akintayo, you said quite a lot of things, and let me interrogate further, especially the aspects that you said, that, you know, Africans are being sold now, or we have this mentality of poverty, so to speak, and humility in poverty, you know, and we see rich people as, you know, or if I'm poor, I will go to heaven. I hope you understand what I'm saying. But what will it change? Yes, what will it change for, what will make us change that mindset? For example, I do this show every weekday, Monday to Friday, to bridge the gap of financial inclusion, financial literacy, money making, you know, decisions, for you to be money making smart, financially savvy, and all of that. And I've realized over the years that even some professors in the university, even, you know, high people, or there's a gap. They don't have that knowledge. They don't have that wherewithal. So what is the missing link really?
Well, by the way, I'm a big fan of your show. I've been, following for over 10 years.
Really? And you're being on my show today.
Fantastic job. And I'm humbled by your consistency. Like, you're
thank
still
you.
there. All these
Thank you.
years.
You've got to be
It's a good
consistent,
job.
man. You know, you've got to be consistent. You've got to continue to push at it, you know.
Exactly. You're very right. I think the issue is that religion didn't help matters, right? I mean, you'll be shocked that Nigeria is said to be the most religious nation in the world, but the poverty capital of the world. Because religion playing into that mix, particularly the type of religion we decide to accept, which is that the poorer you are, the holier you are. And that's pure nonsense. Politicians also haven't helped, because it's difficult to govern a wealthy nation. And America has shown us that because the citizens will have a mind of their own. But when they are poor, now you can use some stomach infrastructure to control them. It's easy to control them with manipulation and money and things and inducement. So I think this religion, politics, is part of the reason why this continue to grow. You know, in Africa, our leaders believe the prove you're a leader is to dominate your people. Now, in other climb, the prove you're a leader is to dominate things and not people. So until our mindset change that what makes me a leader is that I dominate in the healthcare sector. I'm able to come up with the best solutions there. I dominate in the real estate sector. I'm building the best infrastructure. And you see nations like Dubai, that's what's happening there. It's not dominating another human being. Rather, it's being able to dominate things and not people. So it's a mindset, and that's why conferences like this are changing that mindset. And that's what we needed. I've written 37 books.
Yeah.
One of my latest books, Billionaire Habits. And the habits that makes you wealthy needs to begin to put out there. Plus, most Africans have never really seen a rich man. What they've seen is a politician who stole their money and is in multiple convoy. So the mindset is ultimately that the proof of wealth is just behaving in in a certain way. So we don't even really understand what does it even mean to be wealthy.
And let me come to that question because you just took it out of my mouth. Now, what exactly is wealth? Money is just one dimension of wealth. To your own understanding, I like the fact that you said you've written 37 books, and I know that you also started like your humble beginnings. I know you started your business with like $10 or so. Your mom is a civil servant. Your dad's business crumbled at a time to where your business is right now. So this show is a bit practical to tell Nigerians that you can actually start from 5,000 naira and you become rich or you become wealthy. But what is wealth?
So wealth is not just about money, but money is a critical part of wealth. Wealth is transgenerational. It is your ability to not just make money, manage it more, and transfer it to the next generation. And it's tangible. It's something that literally each generation can learn, perpetuate it, and keep moving on. And that's real wealth. So it's
Oh, it seems Dr. Akintayo is frozen there, the picture we have. Okay. I hope we're able to bring you back. Dr. Akintayo, if you can hear me, please reconnect because the network is actually crazy. Let's see if we can take a break to reconnect with Dr. Stephen Akintayo, who is an investment and a life coach. We will be right back. Hello, and welcome to the program. This is Moneyline with me, Nancy.
So we really have to keep thinking out of the box about how to get money to the least accessible in our society.
Everything has to be re-examined in our economy, in our health system.
We are also ensuring that government does not continue to manage this refinery because government is not really equipped to manage refinery.
We need to come forward and do something different so that we move from a situation of looking at things from purely a consumptive approach to a productive environment.
The government and the people need to really agree on the need for a departure from business as usual.
We are now on a process of recovery. It is what I call a bumpy journey to an uncertain destination.
This is Moneyline with me, Nancy Naji. It's so nice to know that you're joining us again today. All right, welcome back. We still have Dr. Stephen Akintayo there, who is the convener Global Wealth Festival and investment and a life coach. Dr. Akintayo, you were talking earlier before the network. I just hope the network will be friendly to us today. That's one of the things we suffer here in Africa, but it's okay. Dr. Akintayo, can I see you? And you were actually explaining the concept of wealth.
Yes, so I was explaining that wealth is transgenerational. Wealth is not just about money. It's beyond money, but part of it is ability to exchange value for cash, and it's transgenerational. So ability to make, manage, multiply, and transfer the wealth from one generation to the other. And when we talk about wealth, it also has to be in its entirety of how you made it, right? Because wealth includes good name. They say good name is better than silver and gold. And in the real core foundational African culture, in fact, wealth is your name. You know, is the ability for your name to even be stronger than money. And that's really wealth. So it's unfortunate that all that value have not been taught in recent times. And all that we're just teaching when it comes to wealth is just money. Money, in a sense, is just paper. And so real wealth is way more than that. It's transgenerational, it's the value system. And that's why people are really wealthy. Sometimes you see third generation wealth, fourth generation, because it goes, into years and years and years. And those are the things we're promoting, we're teaching, and we know, like I said earlier, it takes a wealthy citizen to have a wealthy nation.
Okay, Dr. Akintayo, let's move ahead with, I know that you've had even your conferences in different parts of the world. What has really been your recorded impact in places like Dallas, in the US, the UK, where it happened in July and September?
So we had a great time. We had Dallas. One of our speakers was Grant Cardone, who has over $8 billion in real estate assets. And it was shocking for a lot of us, because most of people in the room were Black, to even get to hear a man who's worth $8 billion. Well, how do such people think? How did they get to where they are? And the testimony is amazing. And it just opened people up to the fact that there's so much possibility and they could do great things. In London, we had different speakers. In fact, one of the speakers we had in London was two-time Guinness Book award winner, Alexandra Musu, for the most expensive suit, most expensive phone. He was one of the people who put Afrobeat in ringtones, started ringtone with Afrobeats. Born in the UK, but a Nigerian, of course. How did he get there? People were shocked hearing his story. Because a lot of time when you hear about rich people or successful people, you think it was all rosy, it was all easy. And so for most people hearing the journey and the processes, I mean, it was just mind-shifting for them. And we're excited because I want to see a day that Black will be synonymous to wealth. And we've seen it with some race. Some race today, when they appear, it's almost as if everyone in their race is wealthy. Enough of Black being synonymous to lack. And for that to change, the mind has to change. We need to begin to celebrate people who have made it legitimately and understand that there's nothing wrong about making money as long as the source is genuine and as long as you're able to do good things with it. And when the mind change is over time, people will start seeing it happening. And again, we need to, those who are wealthy legitimately need to write book. Imagine Dangote doesn't have a book on how he made it. I'm willing to work with Dangote on that. But it's important. The book won't give him anything, but it will teach young people that, look, these were the principles. The man worked so hard. I mean, some of his interview talk about working 16 hours a day. Most people don't know that. Some people just think he's a lucky man, had new people in government. So you have to begin. Those who are successful have to come out, because what young people need is hope. Why are people jackpotting, as we call it? It's that hope is, there's just no hope. There's no hero. There's nobody to look up to and say, okay, politicians have disappointed me, but are there other people that I can just look up to and can say, okay, if they made it, I can make it?
Now that brings me to the question, which I like this foundation which you've laid, that there's a great deal of uncertainty in the business and finance community right now. As 2023 Nigerian elections approach, what do you think about this situation? And you mentioned the syndrome of the Japa syndrome. How do you think that the younger generation can build financial security?
So the darker the environment, the brighter the light. And that's part of what we're trying to teach people, that look, there's so much opportunity in Nigeria. The kind of profit margin you will make in Nigeria, you will not make it in Dubai, you will not make it in the US. And I operate in those places. Our company is in the US, is in the UK, is in Dubai, as well as here in Nigeria. Yes, there's stability in those parts of the world. Yes, there's certainty, but the profit margin can't be compared to what you get in Nigeria. So it's time for us to look inwards and ask ourselves, in this dark, bad environment, how can we still create change? Because our politicians, our leaders are a reflection of the people. If we keep going to elections and we keep voting, and each time it looks as if the next government is worse than the previous, that tells us there's something fundamentally wrong with the people themselves. And is it that we're not looking inwards? Are we not looking at what we have and how we can transform that? So for us, it's preaching a message of hope, sharing our own personal experiences. Omojua will be there, how he has used digital marketing, right, to build wealth. Dele Momodu will be there, how he's used, journalism to know people all over the world. Cosmos Maduka started with 200 Naira 40-something years ago. He's going to be sharing his story at the Global Wealth Festival. Of course, we have Les Brown, who was called the Dawn Twin, become arguably #1 motivation speaker in the world. We have Brian Tracy, we have Robert Kiyosaki. So for Les Brown, Brian Tracy, and Robert Kiyosaki, they're going to be teaching us in a recorded session. So we recorded their videos and it's going to be aired during the conference, while others will be reaching out to us live and sharing their story. So for me, what I love about the conference is that it's practical. The people there are just here to share. Delicious is a lady who just started cooking. She was frustrated in doing career, right? And then started cooking. And before you know, she's on DSTV, she's earning so much. And so there's opportunity. Look at what's happening in our entertainment industry. Like, there's no country I've visited, even Kenya, they play more Nigerian music than their local music. See what's happening with the movie industry as well. Netflix is here, Amazon Prime is here. So there's so much. We just need to look inwards. But importantly, what we are providing is the hope, is the example. Those who are there, that the Freeze will be there as well to share his own story. So we're bringing people who have something tangible to show and to share about their journey.
Now, from what you've said, what distinct qualities do you believe Nigerian leadership lacks? Because you've spoken a lot about politicians and what have you, and which can easily be addressed by business leaders. Do you think that there's enough synergy and nexus between the business community and Nigerian leadership?
No, definitely, absolutely no. I mean, we all are watching the Twitter saga, and how a politician even attacked Elon Musk. I don't know whether you saw that recently. And he just went to our campaign website and screenshot how much she's charging for t-shirts, right? Dragging it down to what is she using the funds for. But I think business people bring in accountability, and we lack that in our political world, right? Our politicians are just not accountable. There's just too much impunity. And I think sometimes also the fact that they don't want to be checkmated, they don't want to be corrected. I don't think all of us who are into business are interested in politics, but we're all interested in governance. And I think one of the things that I want to see with our political class, that once you're done with your political, dramatise, can you bring the business community in? I'm not talking about your normal, during election, you gather with the business community and tell us stories, and after election, bye-bye, until another 4 years again. That's not what we're saying. When you win, can you get the people in the business community to say, I may not make you minister or commissioner, but what are the best ideas to solving the power problem? Because you are a key person there. What's the solutions to solving the real estate issues and several sectors? Because the whole concept of being a leader, you are not the best. It's your ability to manage good people that makes you a great leader. It's not because you are the best of all. And I think we lack that in Africa. We lack that in our political system. And I hope that the next government will be willing to engage the business community in terms of, hey, you guys are in this. Look at what happened with Singapore. Lee Kuan Yew gathered the top CEOs and said, hey, I need you to fix this nation, right? It's either you're going to continue to focus on the little money you are making with your company, or you want to come and help us run this nation like a business, the same way you've run your business successfully well. And until that begins to happen in Africa, we'll not get the leadership right. We have to run business, governance like a business, and make sure we're talking about profitability, we're talking about impact, we're talking about value for money at every level.
You mentioned some speakers that will be at the festival, and you mentioned some of their characteristics. Of course, for some people that started very, very humbly. What other characteristics were considered when selecting the speakers? Because when it comes to issues like this, a lot of people will say, "Don't give me fish, but teach me how to fish." And for you to teach somebody how to fish, you must know yourself the techniques of fishing itself,
Absolutely. Absolutely. For us, number one was that, like Yoruba we say, in other words, whoever will design clothes on you, you have to check what they're wearing. So for us, first of all, was that we wanted speakers who have results, starting with myself. I started our company with just $10, 1,000 naira. And we built it into we're in 4 continents and still expanding. And it started here in Nigeria 14 years ago. And so if I can do it, a lot of other young people can do it as well. And so we selected people and they are focusing on their field. We have keynote sessions and we have panel sessions. So we have real estate panel session. We have the investment and entrepreneurship panel session. And then we have the skill monetization session. So that's where the Freeze, the Delicious, and several other Omojua are speaking. Like, how have these people been able to monetize the skill that they have, over the years? Because there are a lot of talented young people, but they don't know how to monetize it. They don't know how to monetize their talent and turn into money. So we have 3 panel sessions. We also have a networking dinner session. That's for those who get the VIP ticket and above, where you're able to network with virtually most of our speakers will be there as well. And you're networking with them because your network determines your network. The truth is that anywhere in the world, your bank accounts, your bank balance is average of the 5 closest people to you. You can never be richer than the quality of people around you. It's just the way life works. So if you want to be wealthy, you're not okay where you are, then you want to network upward and begin to have people who are way wealthier. And I've said it over time, 2 poor people can't help themselves. It took my mother dying of cancer and not being able to take care of her for, the reality to dawn on me that there's nothing glamorous about poverty, right? And if you just don't have money, even the good on your inside will not come out. You will lose good things, just because you can't just afford to do the right thing. So we hope this, is a movement as far as I'm concerned, and it will take some years, but we know this has come to stay.
Just like you said, your humble beginnings for your company, which I know is GTEX Holdings, making waves internationally in countries like Dubai, that's UAE, US, and the UK. I want to really ask, what is the biggest point that is available in those economies where you operate that can be customized here in Nigeria?
Very good question. I think number one is running, governance like a business. I've always share how I go to some of these government offices and you think you're in a bank. You even have to rate the performance of the official that attended to you. Maybe you want to renew your business license, or you want to do so. And you literally ask yourself again, am I in a government building or something is wrong here, right? The level of customer service is just amazing. You don't need to know anyone to get things done. And until we start putting that in place, ease of doing business will still become something, just a myth in Africa and Nigeria. Also is the ease of access to funds. I remember opening a corporate account in the US. First question was, how much loan will you be needing? And I'm like, open the account first before asking me about loan. You won't get that here. And even if you're going to get the loan, is at interest rates that is literally going to kill your business before you get started. We have to find a way to make funds available. CBN is talking about not being able to account for over 2 trillion naira because probably people are stacking those money somewhere. These are funds that you can release to the business community to keep the economy moving. And I hope that, again, we can do nothing but just hope in this part of the world. We can do nothing but just hope that we get it right. A lot of people have even asked me, do you want to go into politics? And I said, I really don't think that is the priority right now, because I think the mindset is still wrong. It's like you have a bunch of 12 oranges and they're all rotten. It's difficult to say you keep picking each time and you get a good one. So the mindset of the people need to be fixed first. And I want to invest more in that before even thinking of, because even if a good man leads the nation, if he doesn't have the critical mass to create a change, you just become another nuisance. So we hope that we become that critical mass that begin to turn the tides of this nation.
Now, we've seen recent happenings. For example, the UAE have banned, or is it Dubai, banned Nigerians from coming. Ethiopia has said no visas for Nigeria. I also do know, okay, you are in Kenya, whether Kenya is also mulling that right now. So a lot of people in the diaspora have mentioned issues of mistrust of Nigerian citizens. What recommendations really would you offer to the current Nigerian government as a global business owner in the context of a global marketplace for us to be respected as Nigerians, really?
Well, one of the things I've often shared is that the way international politics works is that nobody really likes the next person. They only like the value you bring to the table, right? I mean, look at what's happening in the UK. It started with having a Pakistani mayor in London. Now you have an Indian prime minister. But guess what? The guy is richer than King Charles. So first of all, he was the finance minister. You could trust him with the nation's money because he wasn't a broke guy. He was a wealthy guy. And now you can trust him to say, let him lead the nation. Yeah. And you could see that there's deep racism still in the UK. But you can't but respect people who have put in their brain to work and they have created wealth from that. But what you're seeing in those cultures is that they're united. So number one is that a lot of us in diaspora are not united. And this is number one. Number two is also that a lot of these people have decided to go into legal, legitimate businesses, okay? And prioritize owning businesses than even getting a job. And those of them who then own businesses, of course, are able to employ their people even in those parts of the world. What's happening in Dubai? Dubai is still opening itself up to entrepreneurs, even if they are from Nigeria. But what they've seen is that some people come in as tourists, they overstay their visa. Some go into cultism. We had a situation where some Nigerians were literally using cutlass, machete on themselves, and it was recorded and then made public. Now, Dubai pride in being the safest city in the world. Yeah. So when you release such a video, it's like you are threatening their entire existence. So for them is that anybody doing that, get out. So it's ultimately about the value we bring. And I've said this, sometimes with pride, we say, oh, but Nigerian doctors are the largest in the US. How many Nigerian hospitals exist in the US? Nigerian owned hospitals. That's the conversation that needs to start happening. How do we build Nigerian businesses, even in diaspora? Not just that we are the best employees in those places, that we are the best professionals in those places. How do we think of ownership? And that's why the Global Wealth Festival is not just a Nigerian thing. We had to make sure everywhere we have the largest, numbers of Nigerians in diaspora, and we hope to take it to different cities to begin to challenge our people to say, don't just come here and just say, oh, I've been here 20 years, glory to God, I've been in Canada. What wealth have you created that has also helped the nation of Canada to get enough tax from your business? And you yourself, you've built wealth, not just for your people, for yourself, and for the next generation. So there's a lot. There's a lot. But the hope is this. This has happened with Indians. This happened with Chinese. Years ago, when the world wasn't respecting Chinese people or Indians. Today we do. And so I was sharing this with my Kenyan friends because they were telling me that in Kenya as well, they're banning Nigerians. And I said to them, I said, don't worry. Very soon, the Yahoo Nigerians are doing will soon change to what? To tech, to programmers, to owners of tech businesses. And it has started. Right now, majority of, tech engineers are Nigerians. Even here in Nigeria, big companies are engaging them and they are paying them. But, and over time, what we saw was that China got the leadership right, the political leadership right. India is beginning to get that political leadership right. And what you are having is that they are beginning to do well back at home and they are also doing well in diaspora. So I feel Nigeria is a huge population. So when the number of us who are not that much, who are doing wrong things, look so much because we're also large, right? And so before you know, you say all Nigerians, but a lot of Nigerians are doing things. And that's also what the conference is highlighting. We're highlighting Nigerians who are owning businesses, who are changing those nations, who are making impact, and we're encouraging other Africans, not just Nigerians, to say, look, we can all learn, we can all build wealth, we can all come together and see how to change the narrative. I strongly believe, God, that in the next 20, 30 years, when you say a man is a Nigerian, you will stand up and give him or her respect. I believe it will happen. I believe we'll get our leadership right very soon. We will get it right. And we will start, you will become that nation of pride. I believe so. Even though now I sound like a politician, I guess.
I also believe so, Now, Dr. Akintayo, let's take a look at this, which you're talking about. Sorry, I have a little cold, but given a number of regarded speakers, that you've mentioned, for someone watching now and said, oh, okay, this is about capacity building and all of that, is this event free for those who would like to attend? For me, for example, I'm in Abuja. I hope you will send me my ticket, even though I'm not going to be there physically, and all of that. So for people, watching.
Absolutely, and we hope in a subsequent edition we can even have you among the speakers because I really admire what you do. Definitely, we'll send you a virtual ticket. So the good news is that the event can be watched all over the world. You can get a virtual ticket and be part of it. The event is not free, unfortunately. The event is sponsored by one of our companies, GTEX Homes. However, what we did was to subsidize it. When you look at the quality of international speakers that we have, one of them, their charges alone is more than what everybody is paying to attend the event. So what we've done is to subsidize it. And even today, for those who are immediately going to take advantage, they can use GWF Lagos 50. That's GWF Lagos 50 on that website, www.globalwealthfestival.com. And it will give them extra 50% discount to be able to attend the event, whether they want to attend the virtual or the physical. For the networking dinner, it's only for those who get the VIP ticket and above. So the event starts 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. is the conference itself. And then we have the dinner 7 to 10 p.m., the networking dinner. It's tomorrow, Saturday, 5th of November, Civic Center, Victoria Island, Lagos. And we look forward to people learning. Ultimately, nothing of value is free. And I always say that the proof that you take yourself seriously is the investment you
Put
make
on yourself.
in your mind.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to take seriously the concept of paying to learn how to change your mindset, how to build wealth, because they don't teach about money in the university. For some of us who have been a fan of this show, we've learned more about money from Nancy than we've learned in our entire 4 or 5 years in the university, right? And we have to face that fact. They don't teach these things in the university, and you have to go informally to learn them, and one day can change your entire life forever.
Okay, Stephen, thank you for saying that. Thank you for the compliment. Thank you for being a fan of the show and just telling me today, because we're just getting to meet virtually today. So thank you for being a fan of this show for the past 10 years. Thank you. Now, I just have the next 2 minutes with you. And let me ask you this question. I know you as an investment coach and a life coach, and you've written 37 books. You started your business with 1,000 naira. I think digital marketing, then you grew into other businesses which you do now. What is the most investment question that you have gotten? That's the A part of the question. The second part of the question is, what is the foremost investment advice you've given to people? Foremost investment question people have asked you, and foremost investment advice that you've given to people?
Well, thank you for that. So most is how do I invest without losing money? And my answer to that is I don't have an answer. All of us who are wealthy today have lost money. I remember losing 120 million in the real estate sector, and I almost died. But one wise thing I did was I didn't make it public, because I would have been discouraged. And it's the same, real estate that will build hundreds of millions of dollars in real estate assets all over the world. So if I'd given up because I lost 150 million naira, and 120 million naira rather, I wouldn't be here. So we must understand that the whole concept of investment is about taking risk. And it's actually risky not taking the risk. Yeah. Take the risk. If you will learn. You will learn and you will evolve. My most advice has always been that the only way to manage risk is to be an apprentice of somebody ahead of you.
Yeah.
Right? Sometimes I even put it on social media. Some sessions I have with someone like Dr. Cosmos Maduka, who happened to be one of my mentors. And I will put in some of the recordings for people to see how silent I am, and I'm taking notes, right? So that people can understand that if at my level, I'm still sitting down at the foot of certain people, and I'm taking notes, and I'm learning, and I'm getting their counsel, you can't go further than the quality of mentorship that you have. And we have to say that over and over and over again. And you now see why I'm particular about the fact that African business leaders need to write books, because that's also another way to easily mentor people, even without sitting with them. My life changed with Robert Kiyosaki, and that's why I'm having as one of the speakers. Rich Dad Poor Dad changed my life. I read that book at the age of 18, and it was the beginning of my transformation in terms of understanding about money, concept of investment. So the best advice had been, get a mentor that is wealthier than you are, that understand investment better, and sit down with them and let them guide you. It's going to cost you two things to attract them. Either you serve them as an apprentice or you pay them, but it's never going to be free.
Yeah. Thank you, Stephen, for saying that. Either you serve them or you pay them. The payments part you will not afford, but you serve them. Internship, apprenticeship, or whatever, you need to serve them to, draw from their wealth of knowledge. Thank you, Stephen, for being on the show today. Let's do this again sometime. You said a lot of things here which
Yes.
I've noted down. We'll, make it bigger in other sessions. I wish you well tomorrow. I'm expecting my virtual ticket so that I can join from Abuja, and hope to see you soon. Karibo, my friend, because you are in Kenya, and that's how they greet. Karibo, Karibo. So thank you for.
Thank you. I'm grateful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Karibu. Asante.
Yes, Asante. Asante Sana. All right. I've been speaking with Dr. Stephen Akintayo, who is the convener Global Wealth Festival.com. You've heard it from him. I hope you were taking notes too when we were on. And he's an investment and a life coach. So join them tomorrow.